Welcome to Muzilog Magazine. I'm your host, Sade Archer, and I'm here with the lovely Denise and Terry Atkins, authors of the new book, A Better You in 45 Days, and founders of Create Happiness Today. How are y'all doing?
We're great.
Wonderful as always. Yeah.
It is awesome to have you guys here. Thank you so much for stopping by and, having a little chat with me. And first, I figured we could talk to the audience about yourselves. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. How did we get to be where we are today? Y'all are certified life coaches. Mm-hmm. Y'all are authors. Y'all are creators of an organization. How do we get here?
Man, okay. Well, there's a story. No, it's all good. I think, if we start at the beginning, we both were high school friends years and years and years ago, and kind of went our separate ways after graduation, right? And at the time that we reconnected about 5 years ago, I was going through a divorce, and my wife, Denise, was going through having her husband was diagnosed with cancer.
Yes, right? Thyroid cancer.
Yeah. And so he had just passed away, actually. And, I don't like social media much. I don't, to be honest, but I thank social media for this because we did reconnect. And when we reconnected, it was like we never lost a step. And the great thing was we were helping each other through that loss, right? I was going through the loss. I was married for almost 30 years. And so I was going through that experience. I have 4 kids and there's some estrangement around it. And it's just pretty painful stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But I was going through that. Denise was going through the loss of her husband who, how long was he? He was sick for a long time.
Oh, 8 years.
Yeah. And you were his caregiver.
I was. Yes, I was.
Yeah. And so there's that. And so together we were kind of just helping each other through that, and then we got married and everything. And we just really began to talk, like both of us have always been empaths. We're always those people that just want to help people. And so one day, I think you had mentioned that you just wanted to do something.
Yes.
Because when you were going through your situation, you couldn't find a lot of help.
That's correct. Mm-hmm. Like there was, you could go to therapy and there were support groups and things like this, but to actually have someone that understood what I was going through was hard to find. And I talked to some people and it just didn't feel like it was helping much. And I thought, I want to do something to where I can help people get through things that I've gone through personally, get on a personal level with people and try to help them through their pain because of what I've gone through. And I just felt a calling to do something. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, rather than take all the, the time and the courses to
because we're old.
We're older.
We're older. Yeah, by the time I got out of school,
I don't necessarily want to do the clinical side of things per se, but, I do want to try to help. And I think for me, I started looking into the coaching and realizing that, I could take courses and get certified to do this and to help people. And instead of being clinical about it, I just, want to help, I want to be one-on-one, kind of talk to people and help them through whatever they're going through. Because I've been through quite a few things myself and I've suffered a lot of loss. So I just wanted to take my pain and turn it into something positive.
And when we created Create Happiness Today, I remember we were talking about what to even call it, right? And we were kind of bouncing ideas around. And I think I asked you, I'm like, well, what do you want to do, with this whole thing? And Denise was like, I just want to create happiness. I'm like, there it is. Right?
Don't stop to what. That's
write it down real quick, And so, Create Happiness Today, the whole theme of it is just what it says, creating happiness.
Yeah.
And one thing that we kind of talked about a lot, because we do podcasts and things, and we talk a lot, it's the fact that happiness itself just kind of has to be redefined, right? So much of our culture and the world looks at happiness like money, possessions, things, finding that perfect person. Those things can add to a level of happiness or for a minute, but they don't satisfy, right? There's got to be something deeper going on inside of you. And so when we started Create Happiness, we really were kind of focusing on loss, because we both had come out of that. And so that seemed to be the initial push, right? And if I talk too much, please stop me. But the initial push was really loss, because like I said, I went through a divorce. I have 4 children, 3 of which are estranged. Part of it is because of the divorce. And then Denise losing your mom had died of cancer.
Yes, my grandmother.
Your dad from heart disease, and your husband. So a lot of loss, right? And so we were kind of focusing on that. But what we both felt is like we were pigeonholed. We're like, once helping people through loss is fine, but what happens on the other side of that, right? Because there's a point where you've processed the loss, you've gone through all your grieving, as best you can. You're now ready to pick up and move on with life. And we didn't want to lose that and, hand that off and then just be like, good luck, It's like, we didn't want that.
Well, and also because there's just so much pain in the world. There just is so much pain, and we want to, if we can shine a little bit of light in someone's darkness, that's my goal.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, and then she says it all the time, and it's true. And then,
or a smile that's hard to find is another thing I say all the time, because many times when we're stuck in our grief or our sadness or whatever it is we're going through, it's hard to find a smile, and it's hard to find that there's light at the end of that darkness, because a lot of times you don't think there is, especially when you're right in it. You know,
exactly.
So for me, that's what the driving force was, so to speak. I've always had a passion to help people, and I finally had an opportunity to do that, and that's why we did the coaching.
Yeah.
A long answer to a short question, I guess.
It's all right. It gives a perfect background, a perfect summary of how it is that y'all got here to this point. I am curious, because we talked a good bit about loss and grief. And fun fact, in one of my classes, we are talking about loss and grief. So I might steal this from my paper. But when it comes to the organization Create Happiness today, I recognize that it started off more so for assisting people who were going through different types of grief and loss. Is it still the same today? Is the ideal person to work with you guys or to get services from y'all someone who is going through a loss, or could it really just be anybody?
I would say anybody.
Anybody.
Initially, like we said, it did start with that because both of us had experienced so much of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then we actually had people coming to us, talking to us about other things, relationships, work, just being sad, things like this. And we thought, well,
And honestly, a lot of those people, because as you see, we're pretty happy people. A lot of those people knew what we were going through. And they're like, how do you still have a smile?
Yes.
I
got asked that so many times. Yeah. Half of them didn't know. They'd say, I don't even know you were going through anything, because you always are so happy and you're always smiling.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest, Shada, it was funny, as they would ask, and I'd be like, I don't know. So then I'd have to, no, for real. It's like, how do you? So then what we began to do is look at what we do. Yeah. And how do we wake up every day, even with all the challenges of life, and still find the good in life, still find the happiness. So we began to kind of pull that apart and put that down. And that's a lot of what's in the book is we'll get there. But I think the goal of, again, creating happiness, it's like, how do you get there? How do you do that? How do you actually, whether you have it all or you have nothing at all, how do you find happiness every
single day? How do you help someone?
Or help someone else find it, right? Mm-hmm. All of those things are what we're about. Yeah. And the coaching that we've taken, because you didn't ask about that, we've done a lot, hundreds of hours of coaching and cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mindfulness.
Yeah, mindfulness. I did licensing, mindfulness, meditation. You did happiness. And
it started out at just happiness, life coaching and happiness. Mm-hmm. And then we decided, the mindfulness part of it, learning cognitive behavioral, behaviors of people would be very helpful.
Right.
How we think, you know,
and then coping mechanisms and things like that. And really, our goal is to be a help, right? Because I know you're a
clinical side.
You know what I mean? You got the goods, okay? You know.
Thank you. I'm a professional too. Like,
well, no, that's what I mean. It's like it takes a little bit of all of it, because I know when you were going through your struggles, you went to some professionals.
Yes,
I have nothing against that.
No, but again, like
the clinical side.
I personally couldn't find anyone that had actually gone through a loss of someone. And I felt like, well, maybe that isn't a good fit for me, because I want to talk to someone that actually really understands what I'm feeling, the sadness and whatever, you know, what I've gone through. And I went to 3 different people and I never found that person. Right. And that's just my own personal experience. I'm not saying they weren't out there, but I landed on one. And again, she didn't suffer loss, but she was able to help me understand what I was going through and how to find, you know, the tools to use on the clinical side of things.
Right.
I wanted more though. I wanted to be able to sit down and, you know, what do you do with all those hours in between your session with your therapist? What do you do? Right. You can read books and things, but I just needed someone to talk to, you know, someone that just understood and let me cry and do whatever I needed to do. And I couldn't find that. And I think that was another driving force. Yes,
for sure.
I love that y'all did mention that therapy isn't for everybody. That's the thing that I say, and I provide exposure therapy, where I help facilitate exposure therapy. It's not for everybody. So jumping into the book, how does one create a better them in 45 days?
45 days,
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
We created a journey, actually. It's a journal, but it's a journey. We tried to, how it started originally was I would make inspirational messages with pictures. Every day, one goes out.
Yeah.
And I started noticing that we were talking about writing a book and we really weren't sure where to land, right? And I started noticing when I would elaborate and not just post the inspirational message, when I would write about it and like what that message meant to me and elaborate on it, I was getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah,
so we both were like, why don't we just write the book around the inspirational messages?
Right. And they still go out every day.
Yes.
Like if you go to our website,
there's one.
They go out every single, she's a machine. I mean, for 2 years now, every single day. And they're all different. They're all beautiful. And so, you know, they still go out. But what was my point? They still go out. Okay. Oh, and so what I was thinking as we were doing the book was we didn't want to just create information, right? Because, you know, especially in the self-help community, right? It's so easy to pick up books that are all, you know, fluff and just be positive, you know, just be
do this, and you'll be fine, you know,
and
or
so,
you'll be better.
Exactly. And we were like, we didn't want to create something like that. We wanted something that was interactive and something that would challenge people to kind of stop and think for a moment. And then
back to the mindful.
Right. And then what, you know, on our own, because we are, you know, Christians, we're believers, we do these devotionals we've got a little bit off of the book, but
we try.
But just about every day we would sit down and do these different devotionals. And it really kind of sparked. And I was like, you know, when we're doing that, that's really what we need to do is create something that it's not a religious book, but something along those lines where let's give people something to think about for that day. Let's give them a story and some information related to it. Then let's give them like a challenge for that day and an affirmation, and then let them journal about it. Those that like to journal and write your thoughts down. And then you can see your progression. Right. And like Denise said, it is a journey. Like the very first chapter of the book, I'll give it away. It's, do you want to be better or do you just want the bad stuff to go away? I mean, that's a challenge. That's just day one. Day one. So now you got to sit and think, what am I trying to get out of this? Do I just want to make life easy or do I really want to change?
No, there's a lot of things. And, you know, we picked ones that we thought, some of them were our favorites. Some of them were favorites of, you know, people that have commented on social media and things like this, but we picked ones that we thought could tell a story, kind of a journey. Forgiveness is one of the ones we do.
There's some
forgiving
challenging
yourself, forgiving others. There's a lot of, as you said, challenging things that make you stop and think,
we try to cover a lot of aspects, again, of what we do and how we
get through, yes, how we actually do
can
our
I show the
day-to-day.
book real quick?
Yes.
Yeah, this is
Put it close to the camera a little bit.
yeah,
There you go.
The Better You in 45 Days. And it's really, and we're on the back. And so I'll just open it up. So this is what we're talking about. So these memes here are what Denise puts out pretty much. They're not memes. I'm sorry. Inspirational messages. Memes are funny. All right. So anyway, so these, and it's got a quote, famous quote there. And then this section here is a story. It's about whatever related to this. And
we have personal stories.
Yeah, some are personal, some are about professional people. Go ahead.
Yeah, the ones that have our name at the bottom are obviously a personal writing of our own. The rest of them we wrote together.
Yeah. And then you move on and you've got like 2 full pages for journal, right? So, you could sit here, and this takes about 5, maybe 10 minutes. It's not something that's heavy. Then takes a long, long time to do. I recommend you just pop up in the morning, grab your coffee, and just go through it, right? And I feel the response has been amazing.
One of the ladies said that it's hard for her to put it down. Like she doesn't want to do it day by day. She's like,
do I really get through it?
Yeah, she just want, because it was so intriguing.
Yeah,
is what she said.
Yeah, and I think it's just important, like we said, to try and get people to kind of stop. Right. And I'm sure you deal with that, on a regular basis, where our lives are so busy and we get hit from so many different sides as far as life. And life is hard. We actually start to live with that life as well. And that's not a depressing, sad thing. But you think about our culture. I mean, we've got so many pressures from, like I mentioned, financial, health, relationships, job, just day-to-day stuff, and it's so hard to sometimes juggle all of that and then try to stay on top of it. I think a lot of people feel like they're just,
climbing, and never-ending ladder,
and then never getting.
Yeah.
So with this, again, we kind of are taking people through 45 days, and the goal is at the end that you're just a little better. That's really it.
We're not trying to fix anyone.
No.
We're not trying, people were saying, well, I'm so broken and I need fixing. Well, that's not what we want to say we do, because you don't fix people.
Yeah.
You help, and
just
you try to give them encouragement and ways to help
deal
with.
Ways
I was
to
gonna
deal.
say, I think a good way to put what y'all are doing, again, is not fixing people, but helping people recognize the power that they have within themselves.
Exactly.
Correct.
That, I think, is a great way to put what it is that y'all are doing.
Yes.
And I love it. I really do. I'm gonna have to pick up some books to spread around to some people that I know.
Amazing.
That'd be awesome.
Definitely.
We will not.
Do y'all have favorite parts in the book, whether it's a favorite journal exercise, whether it's I just love, the motivational, inspirational images? Like, what's a fave part of the book for y'all?
I know yours. Yeah.
Well, I have a favorite writing, so to speak.
Okay.
It's one that I write about. It's a Niagara Falls story, a trip we took to Niagara Falls. It's a personal story, and it's just about about just.
It's not about how much you have.
The headline says it's not about how much you have.
Day 12.
It's about how much you can give.
Mm.
And that, that's one of my favorites, because it's just a personal story and I don't want to give it away.
Yeah, don't give it away. People gotta be enticed to get it.
But I can tell you, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
I know because we've talked about this, right, a lot. And with Denise,
we talked about it on our podcast, actually.
We did, yeah. And for Denise, there's several entries that deal with appreciating life, right? And that's something that really resonates with her, I think.
Yes.
Right. And so expound on it. Like we talk about this all the time, because there's so many, like I ask her the question, then I answer. I do that. No, but go ahead.
We bounce off.
We do all the time.
How is your life? Is it everything you always dreamed of? Or has it become something else? It's easy to get caught up in the chaos of day-to-day living, feeling like there's no way out. We all strive to be our best selves, but sometimes life's challenges can make us lose sight of our hopes and dreams, leaving us far from the person we truly want to be. But what if there was a path that could lead you to a better life sooner than you think? Introducing A Better You in 45 Days, a guided journal written by certified life coaches Denise and Terry Atkins. This full-colored self-help tool is more than just ink on paper. It's a roadmap to self-discovery filled with daily inspirations, quotes, stories, and personal excerpts from the authors themselves. Every page is meant to help you move forward through the struggles of living. Each day, you'll find thought-provoking entries that will help you to reflect, grow, and become the best version of yourself. And with dedicated journaling pages, you'll have a space to write down your thoughts daily, turning your journey into a tangible record of your incredible progress. A Better You in 45 Days will give you the tools to overcome obstacles, embrace your strengths, and discover the real you. Don't let another day go by without taking control of your future. Join the growing number of people who have already transformed their lives with A Better You in 45 days. Available in all formats on Amazon. Get your copy today. A Better You in 45 Days by certified life coaches Denise and Terry Atkins. It's time to rewrite your story and become the person you've always dreamed you could be.
It is my appreciation for life. I have a zest for life, and I want to enjoy as much of it as I can. And that doesn't mean, going places and doing things all the time. It just means waking up with a grateful heart and being thankful for each new day that you have and trying to make the best of every day. And we see so many people not do that, where they're just rush, get to, got to get through the day, got to get to work, got to get home, got to make dinner, and you don't stop. And, there's a saying, stop and smell the roses, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what that means. Take a minute, appreciate your day. Mm-hmm. None of us know when it's going to be our last, right? And, I don't want to say go through life, saying, oh, this is going to be my last day. No, appreciate each new day that comes, because each new day brings another opportunity for you.
And those things around you, those people that are in your life, don't take those for granted. The job you have, you may hate it, but at least you have it.
Exactly.
And you have something coming in and you're able physically to do it. Right. So those things are kind of retraining your thinking. And for me, are you good on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because for me, no, I don't want to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
So for me, I think there's many entries that deal with your mind, your mindset, right? Because I believe, and I'm believing more as I get older, your mind affects your beliefs, your heart. So it's head, heart, hands. And so your head, the way you think about yourself, the way you think about others, the way you think about life, it affects your beliefs, your core beliefs. And that affects your actions, right? And so in my mind, and so many people, and I was one of these, that you find yourself in these horrible patterns of behavior, very destructive relationships, different things like that, because you don't think you deserve any better. Right. So your mind is telling you this is as good as it's going to get. Yes. So then your heart is saying, yep, why try? And so your hands are doing horrible things, in your life that are destructive. Go ahead.
And that also happens when you're young. Yes. One thing someone says to you can stick with you for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. So it's, choose your words. and be careful, because our mouths are, and the words that come out of them sometimes are the worst things. And I find for myself, a lot of that was what I brought forward in my life, was things that happened that were said, so to speak, in my childhood. And that creates like a tape that just replays and replays and replays. I say tape, CD, music, it just that plays in your mind. Like it doesn't go away, and you have to train your mind to start thinking differently.
Right.
I think that's the biggest challenge for everyone, is realizing that your mind is a very powerful tool.
That's right.
I love that. All right. Bonus question I'm going to spring on y'all.
Okay.
Since y'all are coaches, what is one step that I can take today to create happiness for myself?
You?
Go ahead.
Okay. You sure?
Yes.
Okay. I would say to everyone out there, I think number one, I said it already, stop for a second. Just stop. Turn off all the distractions, turn off all the noise, because so many of us start our day with the news on, right? Which is the worst thing you could possibly do, is hear about all the death and destruction in the world around you. So already your day is negative. So many of us are so busy trying to please others, take care of the home, take care of all our stuff. I think number one, to be honest, would be just shut it all out, go somewhere quiet, stop, and just sit down for a minute, and just stop. And you'd be amazed how many people it makes them uncomfortable, because they don't know how to kind of be with yourself, right? But you can be so busy taking care of everyone else that you're the last on the list. And I think if there's one step I could say to everyone, it's like, start your day in some way, somehow, whether it's once the kids leave, on their way to work or whatever. Not so much because it's traffic, but just find a way to just find some place for 10 to 15 minutes and just stop and just breathe, relax, prepare your mind. And that alone will, I think, start your day in a good way, right? And you do that over a course of enough days, you've got now a lifetime, right, of taking care of yourself.
I agree. I think it's thinking, try to think of something good, something positive that you can start your day with. Because that sets the precedent for the entire day. And as Terry said, you wake up, you turn on the news, you hear destruction, negative. You get on social media and you're scrolling Facebook or scrolling TikTok or scrolling, and there's so many influences and distractions that really are negative more than anything. So whether you if you're a believer, would believe in God, or you believe in something, pray, meditate, something that work out, anything that can get you back to so to speak, a happy place.
Yeah, a quiet.
And then think too, what brought you to where you are? Why are you not happy? Think you kind of reverse it too. Why aren't you happy? And then try to figure out how you can get back to that place again. What can make you happy again?
Thank you for that. I myself am going to at least use that principle and start it.
Awesome.
I'm gonna start it today. I have a slow day going on today. After this, I'm gonna take a quick little break and just
it's amazing how just breathing for a few minutes will help. Seriously, and a lot of people don't take the time to do it. It does help a lot.
It definitely does. It definitely does. So, the book just released.
Yes.
How have y'all been able to balance working, professional relationships and everything along with personal relationships, because y'all are married and business partners? How is it going?
I don't know what else to say other than we communicate about everything, and we don't compete against each other in anything. We work together with everything we do, whether it's cooking, writing this book, housework. We always work as a team, and we communicate when one of us isn't feeling good about something the other person said, or, I think a lot of times you get caught up in a competition where you have to argue because you have to argue to win. And I never understood that, because when you argue, no one wins.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think for us, I mean, even when we were writing this book together, it was a very tedious process.
You've never written a book.
There were so many times, like I'd write something and I'd be like, oh, you know, this, and he'd come in with something else. I'm a very direct writer, and he's more of elaborate. You know, he calls it fluff. And we offset each other in that way, where we allowed each other the space to create our writing. Mm-hmm. And how we wanted to portray it. And there's a good balance there. And I think we laughed through it at each other and at autocorrect and all kinds of things. People aren't going to believe, we had a lot of fun.
It was a long,
we cried. Like 9 months. We actually, it was therapy for us as well, because something happened while we were writing the book. We don't want to get into it because it's in here. We suffered a loss together during the writing of this, towards the end. And we had to use our own therapy, so to speak, our own ideas in our book to help us get through that loss while we were writing the book.
You know, it was really great for me as we were writing it. I was also a reader of the book, right? And there was, I can't even tell you the number of times where something was going on and it reminded me of one of the entries in the book. And I was able to kind of glean from that. And especially at the end, at the very end of the book, we talk about what we're talking about. There was a loss in the family. And we shared that, right? But even during that, I remembered some of the other entries that talked about loss, how life moves on, even though that person's out of it now.
You learn how to, you don't ever get over it.
Right.
You know, that saying where people say, just get over it. Well, you don't ever get over a loss. You learn how to get through it and learn to live without that person in it, or that animal, or whatever the case may be. Whatever it is. That opportunity, right?
Yeah. And so I think the balance really comes because we are balanced in our lives. And we really have learned to be our own person first. Like, you know, and we'll talk about where we're going next. But anyway, but one thing I'll throw out there real quick is that I feel like one mistake a lot of people make, and I used to make the same mistake, is thinking I would find that one person to complete me. Remember that? You complete me. No, I'm not a half a person. I'm a whole person.
No one
Denise
can
is a
make you
whole person. But we come together as two whole people. And now we can be partners, you know what I mean? As opposed to me relying on you to somehow fill this hole inside of me. That's not fair to you.
Right.
You can't do that. And I shouldn't ask you to. So in everything we do, we recognize that Denise is a full person. I'm a full person. We have chosen to be together, you know, and we're not obligated. I know there's a ring and things, but at any point, this person can make a different choice, right? Mm-hmm. Therefore, I've got to value that. And she values me. And when we're working together, all I'm trying to do is make sure that your dreams or her dreams.
And I do the same.
And she's doing the same for me. And when you have two people who are focused on taking care of the other person, you have balance. It only gets off balance when one is taking and the other one is waiting and giving. Then you've got this and this.
And I think too, sometimes you lose yourself in relationships as well.
Yeah.
If, you know, because it happened to me before, and, you know, no fault. It's just, you end up putting someone else ahead of yourself, and then you end up forgetting who you actually are.
Right.
And especially realizing you're like you just said, you're a whole person. You know, this person that you're with should just complement who you are. And I think when we have office upstairs, and when we're done for the day, we shut the doors and we leave it there. And we did the same thing with the book. When we were done writing for the day, we just left it.
And we closed that door.
And then we had our personal, you know, time together. And that's important. I think that's probably the key to it all, is that we realized that we had to separate it. If we're going out on our date night or whatever, we need to make that about us. Yeah. And even there's been times we've unplugged and just said, no social media, no answer the phone. You know, we'll tell people we're unplugging for the night. You know, I think you just need to do that, you know?
I love how balanced y'all are. Y'all balance each other out like perfectly. And I was trying to keep my tears. I was like, oh my God, I love
No problem. We can.
And that's the other thing too, is that so many people are afraid to have the emotion and to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Whether you're whatever you male, female, whatever, you can cry. You can cry. It's okay, you know? And you have to feel, and you have to let yourself feel, right?
Exactly.
So
we have the book. We have the podcast, Create Happiness Today. We have the website going on with all the merch. If y'all want to like show some merch really quick.
Yeah,
can we though? Okay. Yeah, go. Well, also if you buy the book, how much is the
20%? I think it's a 20% off coupon.
We have a coupon in the book for everybody that buys the book.
Ooh.
And you have
20%
off, right?
Yes,
merch.
Oh, that's a good deal.
It's a great deal. So it is. And there's a code in the book. And so you get, these are cups that we've got. They're really beautiful. We've got, these are Viking. You need a metal cup. Here you go. Viking cup. These are really
There's different things on them. We have
this is a warrior,
survivor.
And on our website too, and I don't want to start selling, but I'm just telling you, it's really exciting. One of the things that we have on our website when you go to the merch store is we have these warrior and champion shirts that on all different kind of colors, and they're all related to different charities. So for instance, cancer,
mental illness,
stroke, and each ribbon is represented on the different shirts. And anyone that buys those shirts, we're giving, I believe it's 15% goes to the charity. All these, and it's listed all the different charities that we give to. So we're trying to give back as well. And the shirts are not horrible.
T-shirts.
Yeah, this is the best range.
And then
and not just that. There's
so many different sayings that you can pick from, and colors and shirts. This is one of the tank tops that we offer.
Yes. And then we got really in all different colors, sizes.
Yeah.
This too, just
THT.
Yeah. And these are Hanes. These are like Viking. It's not cheesy stuff. But anyway, so you do get merch. But yeah, we have merch. We've got the podcast. We've got the book.
So what's coming next? Are we offering services of our coaching?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. We're offering coaching services. And again, what I'm really excited about, and we'll probably talk to you offline. We understand as coaches, we can only do so much, right? And so if someone approaches us for services and we feel like, okay, this is well beyond just kind of giving you some advice. I mean, you really need professionals. We want to build a network of those professionals like yourself, that we could say, hey, we've got someone that can really help you from here on out. This is much more than we can do. And we want to have, as many as we can, these referring partners that we can, because it's all about helping people. Yeah. It's not about us lining our pockets or whatever. We want to help someone. And if we feel like, if we feel like it's too much, that's where you come in, right? Because you can pick them up and go.
Because this is, journaling helped me personally get through things. And it may not be what will help someone else. They may need further help. Or this may be a good guide for after they go through, extensive therapy,
Right.
So it's just kind of an added bonus. But the next thing we're working on, we're getting lots of things. Meditation is in the works.
Yes.
That's something that we're going to start doing.
A course, maybe 30 days or something like that, just kind of teaching people how to be mindful, right? And use meditation and quiet to help strengthen who you are, because it really does help center you and things like that. And
we're in the process of writing another book. And this one, we haven't decided if it's going to be another journal again or not. We're still thinking about that. But it's going to be built around relationships.
Yeah, relationships. And loving yourself first. You know what I mean? Because you've got to have, the truth of it is you've got to have something beyond yourself. You have to have some kind of faith structure, whether it's God or whatever. You've got to have something bigger than you, right? That you kind of believe in. I think that helps understand that you're not in this alone.
Yes,
but then you've got to love yourself, before you can love anyone else.
Yeah.
If you don't even love yourself, if you can't even look in the mirror and like the person looking back at you, how in the world are you going to get love to another person?
It's very
Right?
important.
Yeah.
It's very
And
important.
so we're still kind of tossing it around, and maybe another, a better love in 45 days. Maybe we'll just keep the series going.
We're not sure yet,
But
there is something in the works.
yeah, so we're working on that as well. So.
Listen, as soon as that one drops, send me the link. I'll be purchasing immediately. Just
Okay.
I love
Cool.
Yes.
this real quick.
Yeah.
But so the book is available on Amazon.
Yes.
We have paperback. We
Yes.
have Kindle.
Kindle. Yes.
Okay, yeah, Kindle. Okay, awesome.
Yes, and if you have Kindle Unlimited, I believe it's free for Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah, Kindle.
And then regular Kindle you can purchase.
Yeah, and the only thing we ask is if you do purchase, just leave us a review.
Yes.
We need to know that it's hopefully doing what it's supposed to do, and if not,
Right.
tell us why.
Or even like if we decide to do a follow-up to this one,
Yeah.
or even when we're writing this new book, if there's something that, we could have done better, we like to hear that too.
Yeah,
But it does help.
And we do plan on having an audiobook as well at some point. We're working with someone now. We just had a meeting last week about it, and we'll see where that goes. I'm hoping by the end of the summer to have an audiobook.
Now, on our website, we do have some blogs that we were writing previously.
Yeah, we do blogs.
We are trying to get back to that again. It's just there's a lot, of content, but there are blogs that we wrote previously that are on the website as well. So there's a lot going on.
Awesome. My last question. I remember, Tara, you said you didn't really like social media, but do we have socials for the people who are social minded?
Oh yeah, yeah. We're on every
We're on every platform.
Instagram. Go ahead.
Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. What am I missing?
Is it all
Twitter.
at Create Happiness Today or CHT?
It's all at Create Happiness Today. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've got links on the website to all of that. We're also on SoundCloud if you have that. Our podcast goes up on.
Yes.
Actually, our podcast
It's on
goes
Spotify. It's on all platforms.
every single platform out there.
Yes.
So we try to cover it all. We try to make ourselves accessible as much as we could.
And we're working on YouTube.
And we're
That's
working
the
on
next
YouTube.
thing.
That's
We
coming,
haven't quite gotten there yet, but that's also something that's in the works.
Right.
I
We're gonna do
figured
some shorts.
she didn't know she was going to be asking such a long question.
No, it's
There's
all,
a lot.
it's all good. It's all good. But oh my gosh. Of course, my ADHD brain would kick in right here at the very last second. Hopefully that will just cut that out.
Yeah, editing.
Edit
the mess out of this. But I appreciate having y'all stop by today. Y'all have been a blast. I love talking with y'all. And everybody watching this, go pick up the book because we all need to be better people. And I think the sooner we could do it, 45 days, I think that would be better for this world and this planet.
I agree.
100%.
There's, like I said at the beginning, there's too much pain in the world.
Yeah.
And too much negativity. And we just want to shine a light.
I love it. So thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
All right, then don't be a stranger. Don't be a stranger, man. Let's connect and let's do some stuff.
Most definitely.
Yeah.